This week I am driving the Tesla Model Y, current Model Y, and it's been announced that the new Model Y that we would have seen coming out in China and Australia a couple of weeks ago is now coming to Europe. We're seeing prices for the UK and Ireland. We're going to have a look at whether you should go for this one or would you wait and get the launch edition, is what they're calling it, in the new model, and some of the differences that you can see between it. Is it good to wait for the new, or should you get the value in the current? The model I'm driving this week is the long-range rear-wheel drive, which is the most affordable version on the Tesla website at the moment here in Ireland, coming in at around €48,000. The new Model Y is going to be long-range all-wheel drive, so it's not really like for like, but the price difference there, because it's a launch edition, I think it's around about €66,000, so there's a big jump up. Now, if you compare all-wheel drive long-range old model versus new model, there's about a €12,000 difference in it now. Less colours, etc., etc. So we're going to go through all of that. Main difference is aesthetically on the outside. You're going to get that on the front. I'll put up the new version on it on the screen here, so you can see it side by side. Is the lights. It's definitely going to be something that you're going to spot in the difference. Middle of a storm here today, so I'm trying to half film it in the car park. You also have a squared off bonnet. You don't have a Tesla logo on the front of the new one, and the daytime running light goes all the way across on that light bar, and they have that their actual headlight module in underneath. You have a larger side vent on it. Side profile, actually, I don't think you'd know much of a difference in it. Slightly different wheels, 19s and 20s available. Slight difference on the rear, on the side mirrors. It has one extra camera on the new version, and that's just to cover the blind spot that Tesla drivers were having right at the nose. So it's down right at the bottom here. And it has a little washer on it as well. But this model has 7 cameras. The new model has 8, that's one just for that, because the camera up at the top of the windscreen wasn't able to pick it up. So that's aesthetically some of the things as well that you're going to. If you look back, I did a video about a year ago, buy now or wait for the Juniper. It's interesting to go back over that. I was totally speculating onto I thought we were going to get the new Model Y in 2024, and unfortunately, or fortunately, we didn't. But talking about steer-by-wire, talking about all that other kind of stuff. So current Model Ys, you can get all-wheel drive, they're all long range, number one. So long range rear wheel drive, which is the one I have here today. You can get all wheel drive long range, and then you can get performance long range as well. So there's 3 versions in this style. The new Model Y only comes in all wheel drive long range. The range for the current model is 514 kilometers to 600 kilometers WLTP. This one is supposed to get 600 kilometers. When I filled it up, it's getting on the gasometer about 525, but it's been cold. I'm doing a lot of motorway. I'll jump in and I'll show you what I've gotten. I did nearly 300 kilometers yesterday, so I should technically have nearly 200 kilometers left. Pricing, as I mentioned, this one is coming in around €48,000, and with a €7,200 deposit, you can get it monthly for €583. And then the new Model Y is coming in after everything. It has a lot of extras on it at €66,574. With a €10,000 deposit, it's about €1,000 a month, 956. And then on the rear, so side profile, not so much difference. And then on the rear, you do have a difference in it as well. I'm going to try and get an angle of a shot so that you can see one versus the other. I'll try and put the other one up on the right-hand side of the screen here. But it is a light bar. It's an indirect. The license plate has moved down. You don't have Tesla badge, you have Tesla wording. And actually, it's a smaller boot by about 20 litres. So if you're looking for more boot space, the current Model Y is the one to go for. It has manual fold down, so these just release. Whereas on the new one, it's power up and power down. On the all-wheel drive anyway. Same setup, 40-20-40 split. This one folds together, this one is separate, and it has manual adjustment on the current model. On the new model, let's get in out of the rain. It is, let me see if I can turn off my Spotify there. So in the rear, what are some of the differences? You are going to get totally new seats, so bigger headrests. longer seat space itself, more bolstering, the power function as well. Their current model is heated, the new model will be heated as well. So it's the different seats, different padding, and also power up and down, both ways, fold and unfold. But still 2 ISOFIX, still heated versus heated. They're perforated in the new one, but they're not ventilated yet, whether that's something that's going to come down the line. And also in the new Model Y, you have a better roof. And so in some countries, we're not going to be worrying about it here today. As you can see, the rain coming down. In Ireland, you're going to get the roof that they're putting in the new one is, they're saying, what is the terminology that they're actually using? It's tinted and laminated in both models, this one and the new one, but the new one has a metallic infrared reflective coating. Also in the rear, the difference between, and we're going to have the new one on the channel soon, so you're able to see what the differences are. But just the fact that I had it this week, I'm going to give it, if you're thinking, should I buy the new one? What's the differences? I'm going to run through them all. In the new one then, it's the backs of the seats, and you can see this one is a magazine holder, a fabric flap, but it's anything that goes into it will stay into it. The actual new one is a solid, like an airplane, but the side walls, stuff will fall out of them potentially. 2 USB Type-Cs here, 65 watts on the new one. Then you also have an 8-inch screen here that will control ventilation, which is powered in the new one. And this one, it's manual vents. Don't think that's a big deal. The 8-inch screen does climate, does audio, but also has games and streaming functions with its own dedicated Bluetooth. So people in the rear can connect their devices to it and not disturb what's up in the front screen. So that is something different. If you've got kids, you might want to entertain them. Now, some people put the screens in the back of the seats, but otherwise, God, the weather is shocking. Absolutely shocking. That's the trunk, which is slightly smaller in the newer one. Aero range-wise, as I said, if you compare like for like, sorry, I never said that, all-wheel drive, long range versus long range launch, new Tesla Model Y, there's about a 30, 35, 38, so around 30 odd-ish kilometers difference. They're saying there's no difference in the charging speeds. Max 250 kilowatt. In my old video, I talked about, are we going to see 800 volt architecture? Are we going to see 350 kilowatt charging? No, they didn't change it. So the body has changed, but the battery underneath, it's around between a 75 and 80. They never tell us, depending on where it's made. So obviously in the all long range is built in Germany, in Giga Berlin, is BYD battery, I believe. LFP, so it has a slightly different charging curve, better in my opinion. But then there's the standard range, which we haven't seen the specs for yet in the Tesla Model Y. So charging is the same, battery packs are the same. So and the electric motors are the same. Efficiencies have gotten better, and we'll talk about some of the stuff, but noise insulation, they're saying 20% improvement in the windows. I've never found Tesla super loud. There has been a bit of resonance in the boot area. It's a bit of a drum, so you can hear stuff NVH. But they've said they've totally removed that. But the issue I have with the current Model Y is stiffness and ride. And they said they've improved that. It's Generation 2 stuff on the Tesla Model Y. So the new Model Y. Let's jump into the front and I'll show you the differences up there. Get out of the rain. Ooh. So we don't have this white or wood effect anymore. It's an ambient strip that goes along. The doors, the materials, the textures, all textiles all seem to have been improved. You've got more aluminium around the place, but that lighting, which we would have seen in the Tesla Model 3. And then the screen is the same size, 15.4 inch. And that is going to be, the only difference is it's a slightly smaller bezel around the edge, but the UI, the menu is the exact same. With the launch edition, you're getting eBoost or boost. The wireless charging pads are the same. They're not ventilated. In this current model, you've got the cover for the storage cubby. And in the new model, you also have a cover for the cup holders. So they're not exposed all the time like that as well. This has, I think in this version, there are some USB Type-Cs. down in here, whereas in the new version, oh yeah, there's two down here. Whereas in the new version, it's not in the center console, it is in the armrest console cubby. There's one there, so there's 3 USBs in the new one. Glove box is in the same position. It's clicked together. It's very similar to Model 3. The biggest thing that I got wrong in between my last video, the Juniper, should I wait for Juniper? We're not calling that anymore. I don't think Tesla even called it that. Is the I thought there was going to be no stalks like the Model 3. So the Model 3 is not going to get stalks. The Tesla Model Y, the new Model Y, is going to get an indicator stalk. So it will have on the left-hand side an indicator stalk like this. The current model has your gear selector on the right-hand side, reverse neutral. That's going to go to a model like the Model 3, where it's on the screen here and you can swipe up or swipe down to engage. It's kind of auto-sensing. If you're up against the wall, it'll know that you'll want to go in reverse. If the screen for some reason fails, there will be a drive select buttons up here in the head unit. Steering wheel has now moved to, I think it's Tesla instead of the badge. We're removing the badge around the place. Probably the only place you're going to see it is the center of the wheels, and I don't even think it's there anymore. It's just the word Tesla. It's the new Tesla Model 3. So if you haven't seen that new Tesla Model 3 Highland video, I had that last Christmas 23. So if you're looking to see what, there are other, obviously lots of new Tesla Model Y videos out there. But if you're interested in my commentary, there is a red Tesla Model 3 Highland. Yes. And so steering wheel, it has got a stalk, which was going to be a big thing for people. And in that video, when I asked, should you wait, should you buy, they were saying, oh, if there's no stalks, I'm going to buy the current one. The current one only utilizes cameras as well, whereas there was a generation Model Y a couple of years ago where it had actual parking sensors, ultrasonic, but they're really, what's the word, focused on cameras, and so there's that, but this one has that extra camera as well. What else are on my notes to say that we have covered or haven't covered? In the boot, it's power tail lift on this one at the moment. The new Model Y has a hands-free, as you walk up to it, it uses ultra-wideband technology from your phone, I think it is, that allows it to know that you're there and will open the boot as you walk towards it, if you have that setting on it. The suspension, the noise reduction are both generation 1 on the current model. I've never had an issue with the noise. As I said, the suspension, we're going to take this for a spin now in a minute just to chat about it as well. I just find that on some surfaces, poor roads, it is stiff. So yeah, and I wouldn't be a fan of it. Some people are okay with it as well. The driving yesterday, we did over 300 odd kilometers. So we should have 200 left, but because it was a lot of motorway driving, because it was colder, it was between 3 degrees and 8 degrees, we actually utilized more. So kilometers consumed 371, but they're saying because of the climate activity, air drag, etc., it cost us nearly 50 kilometers. And it's great that the system actually shows you that. So 371 really should have been 320, plus that 142 up there. So as much as the gasometer says 525, WLTP says 600 for this, with drag, with weather, with temperature, all that kind of stuff, you're getting probably 450 real world range, which is good. Don't get me wrong, you don't need much more than that. Nothing much else affected the actual driving of it. Let's go back out and have a look at the rest of the differences between the current Model Y and the new Model Y. Both models, this and the new one, has ambient lighting in the door pockets and the footwells. The new one has carpeted footwells. Oh, sorry, footwells. Yeah, they're all carpeted, Derek. It has on the inside of the door pockets. Current model isn't lined, versus the new model will be lined. That's just for sound, etc. like that. We've talked about the sunroof. The new model, this one has power front seats with heat. The new one has upgraded seats, but also perforated and ventilated in the front. So if you like a ventilated seat, again, some markets, i.e. Ireland and the UK, just really don't mind it. You know what I mean? And that's the odd summer days you go, God, I wouldn't mind a ventilated seat. But as you can see from today, not so much. I've seen in some reviews talking about that the front is going to be powered. I haven't got that confirmed yet, and some other reviews said it's not going to be powered. And also that frunk is going to have a drain hole in it, so you can't put ice into it if you're doing a front gate party, if you're storing stuff in there, if you're fishing, people say that you can put stuff in there and the water will drain out of it rather than storing it. And there seems to be better insulation around the top of that as well. Otherwise, I think I've covered everything. Nobody has driven it yet. I said I will have it on the channel soon. It is coming. It is coming to the Irish market in very soon. But I just wanted to get this video up. The fact that I had the Model Y, and the fact that the difference. Let's look at the difference in price again. So if you're comparing the current Model Y versus the new Model Y, it's 66 odd thousand, as we talked about. Whereas if I go for an all-wheel drive, long-range all-wheel drive, apologies, let me get the terminology correct. It's saying, Tesla do a funny thing where they talk about savings versus no savings. The price has gone up on this since last. So when I checked this on 2 days ago, it was for the long-range rear-wheel drive. The one I'm in was coming in at around about 48,000 euros. It's now 51,892. So there's been an interest. And then if I want to match like for like the long-range all-wheel drive, it's coming in at 60,768. So you're missing out on that SEAI grant with all the bits and pieces on it. And that's before you start speccing wheels and colours and all the rest of it. And then the launch edition, which gets like silly stuff. You don't really potentially need like tow hitches, etc. That's 66. So it's about 6,000 in the difference. Just clarify. And the jump has been because of it's tipped itself over the 60,000 euros. So if you're looking for a long range all-wheel drive, there's a 6 grand in the difference. Would you wait? Are you happy with this one? I think this is the sweet spot. I think the long range rear wheel drive, do you need more? Some people do need more power. Some people think they need more power. But for the money, as I mentioned, now the new Model Y will come in this variant, I assume. We also, at Paris Motor Show, got to see the 7-seater Model Y. Haven't seen anybody talking about that yet. And will it come, will it not come? I'm not so sure. So there will be other trims of the new Model Y coming. And I assume they will try and get it in Ireland anyway, underneath 60,000 euros, because why wouldn't you? It is where the government grant currently is Sealand. And so if you take it in underneath that, you get 3,500 euros off. Foolish for them not to. Hope you've enjoyed that look around the differences between the current Model Y, the new Model Ys. There are other things happening within the world of Tesla that people will no doubt jump into the comments and talk about. But we're here to talk about cars and what people are picking and choosing. This is the most popular car in the world, not just electric car, for the last 2 years. And so they've sold over 3.5 million. They sell 1 million a year. It's a very important car. But should you buy this version or should you buy the new one? Let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks. And if you think an EV is for you, leave it to me and I'll review. Thanks for watching.